Hi, thanks for joining me. So today I want to give some of my impressions about E3 2015 here this year. I was going into this E3, the press conferences, with the lowest possible expectations. And that's not to say that, I don't feel like gaming has, been meeting my needs or anything like that. But I feel like E3 in particular has been focusing on a different audience, I would say more of a mainstream audience, different kinds of games than the ones that I really get into, certainly games that I play sometimes, but not really the ones where my heart lies. I pretty much expected to just see this E3 and not really see anything that I was particularly jazzed about. Certainly nothing talking about any kind of Japanese games, any RPGs, any of that stuff. I just figured we'd be seeing more AAA, shooters and violent games and, that kind of stuff. And that would be it. So I was pleasantly surprised by this, to say the least. This E3 was kind of amazing, because something for the record books, So I don't know if I'm going to go through all of the conferences, maybe just a little bit to jog my memory. I did watch the Bethesda conference, I watched the Microsoft conference, I skipped EA's, I caught some of Ubisoft's, and I watched Sony's and Nintendo's and Square Enix's. So I think I got a pretty thorough, overview of the stuff that I was interested in, for sure. So I guess I'll go by developer and conference. Bethesda's was kind of reinforced my thoughts initially. We got to see Doom and some stuff like that. Dishonored, I think they talked about. Nothing that I was particularly interested in. I certainly enjoyed Doom back in the day, but, I might play it if I have an opportunity. But I'm not going to rush out to grab that game. But Fallout 4, that was very exciting for me. Fallout is one of those things that's not really in, my field of vision all the time. I never played the old ones. I was never, I didn't have that experience. I didn't know about them. But when Fallout 3 came out, I was really interested in it. I was a Bethesda fan. I am. I really like their series of Elder Scrolls games, and Fallout for me was a lot of fun. It was just like an Elder Scrolls games, but set in a post-apocalyptic universe. Kind of a fun. Style to it and characters and stuff. It was just sort of an interesting, fun series. It was my first platinum on the PlayStation 3, so I definitely, played that game a lot and really liked it. So just seeing Fallout 4 was cool. The thing I probably like the most about it is the upgradable weapon system. I like the idea of being able to kind of like level up your equipment, and I really like that the Elder Scrolls and the Fallout games seem to have, all of these items that are sort of just set decoration, in them, and to see them used for something, you could like make potions out of a lot of the stuff in Elder Scrolls, but it just, it seems like they're not as useful as they could be. Seeing them try to like utilize that and sort of make a collection mechanic and a level up mechanic for those the weapons and crafting a little more robust in this was cool. I'm really looking forward to that. And otherwise, it just looks like more Fallout goodness. So I was very happy to see that. Let's see, in Microsoft's conference, I thought they had a good conference this year. I've always maintained that after my fiasco with the Xbox 360, after the way that Microsoft put their foot forward about the Xbox One hardware and their strategy on that, I was really upset, and this was easily my last choice of a console for this generation. Now, after their conference, and they had a good one last year where they focused strictly on games, it was just game after game, this one I thought they did some pretty cool stuff with it too. Standouts for me, easily, everyone I think is going to say this, Cuphead. We saw that last year, but the visuals are so striking for it. it surprises you. It blows you away. One of the things I really like about it is it's 2D. It's showing you, again, what you can do with 2D. 2D is relevant, that you can still do something visually arresting, completely unique and surprising in that 2D space. And I really hope that, it just reminds people that 2D is a really viable and interesting, aesthetic to work in. But I don't think I would get an Xbox One just for Cuphead, but if Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, whatever they're calling it, is indeed an Xbox One exclusive, I'm not necessarily happy about that, but I did really enjoy the first Tomb Raider. I wouldn't have really called it a system seller for me, but seeing the footage that they had, that it was really exciting. It was really gripping. I just enjoyed what I saw of that, and I really did enjoy that Tomb Raider reboot. My biggest gripe about it was the gunplay, especially towards the end of the game. It was too a cover-based shooter focused. I didn't like that. But everything else about it, exploration, collection, the story was pretty good, just the levels and going back into them, and it was cool. I liked the level up system for the weapons and all that stuff. I enjoyed the game, and I'd really like to play that new one. So, let's see, other stuff, they had that, the glasses, it was like HoloLens or something like that. It's augmented reality, basically, and I have to say, it was impressive. And I like the idea of augmented reality, I think, more than the idea of virtual reality. I've gotten to use the Oculus Rift, and while it's pretty cool, it does still feel like the only part of the virtual experience that they're capturing is your head. It's like you're sticking your head up in a fishbowl or something, through which you can look around at this environment, but none of your other, senses or any other part of you is really engaged in that. And it does make for, I think just sort of a not as immersive experience as you might expect. So, as to where that's going to go and how that's going to get used, I don't really know. But the neat thing about augmented reality, I think, is I feel like there are opportunities for that to be cool, I think, especially if you just take the tabletop where they had the thing I noticed that they did not do, they basically had a Minecraft level come up that somebody had made on this table, and you're sort of able to interact with it in 3D space, which was cool. But nobody was taking little bricks and moving them around. It led me to believe that maybe that device does not have the fidelity to to do that kind of precision, motion and movement and interaction. So that would be too bad, because I think that's where a lot of the the kind of exciting applications for that would lie. But I'm still interested in it. I think for games that essentially simulate tabletop, like strategy games and Dungeons and Dragons and that kind of thing, there's such a world of possibility for that. Even just that alone, that augmented reality, I think is kind of interesting. So that was cool to see. What else did we have? I guess they had some sort of a new IP, which is always kind of good to see, not just a parade of sequels and reboots and remakes and that kind of thing. Something they were doing with Concept, which is Keiji Inafune's company, and you get to see like this girl and a robot dog, and then these robots have these cores, and you plug it into another robot, and that's all we saw about it. Who knows? I have no idea what that game's going to be like. I'm not really excited for it, but it was cool to see a new IP. And yeah, so I didn't watch EA's conference. I watched part of Ubisoft's conference, but honestly, I don't really remember anything from it. I don't think there was anything that was particularly interesting for me. What was interesting for me, however, was Sony's conference. Now, again, I didn't have big expectations. I didn't know what to expect. They led right off with The Last Guardian. And this is a game that I honestly thought was dead. I did not think that we were going to be getting that game. And, to see them lead with this and just to see the gameplay from it was really cool. I can't say that I was super excited about the game when they first announced it, but seeing the gameplay for it, I really liked Ico. It was a game I wasn't that into when I first heard about it. One of my friends had a demo for it. It was like this windmill, and you sort of jumped around on the windmill, and it was an environmental puzzle, just like the whole game of Ico is. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. But then once I played the full game, I loved it. It completely sucked me in. I finished it. It was great. And just seeing that gameplay again got me so excited because you saw this whole environment, this big castle, and all I'm just thinking about is, it's going to be so much fun to uncover those puzzles and figure out how to make your way through that environment. Can't wait for that. Was really surprised. I don't even remember if they had a release date or how long that's going to take to come out, but just seeing it again and knowing that, okay, they're committed to to following through with that game, I can't wait to check that out. Next up, I forget the things that stuck in my head because this was, just mind-blowing stuff that's happening. If it wasn't enough that they did that, then they're like, and Final Fantasy VII reboot. And I was just like, no way. Or remake, I guess. And, I did a whole video about this, about why, I don't know if I said that they weren't going to make it, but I think that was, I'm basically saying it's probably not going to happen for a lot of reasons. It is happening. It seems to me, and I'm going to talk about Square Enix a little bit here, they did a survey a while back, and I filled it out. I tweeted out to let other people know that, hey, they're doing this. It was fun to be able to have the opportunity to voice my opinions and talk about, what my age is. They kind of, they were obviously building some demographics about who their fans are and what sort of games they like to play. And it seems to me like they listened. And this seems to be a theme of this E3, which is so strange that, they're saying, let's do this for the fans. Let's do these things that, people have been clamoring for forever. Let's follow through on our promises. Let's cater to these people that, maybe we know aren't the World of Warcraft or the Call of Duty crowd, but they are, an established audience that, that has money and wants to buy games and can be catered to. It was just something. So to hear that Final Fantasy VII is being, remade, what's exciting about that for me is that I never played the original game. I did watch a friend play it. I saw a lot of key scenes. I saw the ending. I played the snowboarding and stuff like that, but I never played the game, so this will be my opportunity to play it for the first time, and I just like the idea of being able to play this as a new experience, on current gen consoles with like updated graphics and stuff. I think it's going to be super solid. It's as long as it has the same gameplay and the same story and characters and stuff, I think it's going to be a really solid game, so I can't wait. And then, my mind was utterly blown. You had Shenmue 3 comes up on the screens, and I'm just like, what is this? I mean, I knew what it was, but I didn't know what to think. And, like Yu Suzuki comes out, and they count down, and they're like, here's the Kickstarter for Shenmue 3. And, I would have gone nuts if, I wouldn't have, woken up people in the other room. I was just blown away. My history with Shenmue is that I played it originally on the Dreamcast. You guys know I'm a big Dreamcast fan, and, I'm not one of those people that, lives and dies by Shenmue. It's not my favorite game ever. It's not, I don't wear Shenmue pajamas to bed or something like that. But I've always thought it was a great, groundbreaking, watershed game that I enjoyed and still think is a wonderful experience. And all of my friends played it back in the day. Everybody that had Dreamcasts, and all of my friends pretty much had Dreamcasts, and we all played Shenmue, and we all thought it was great. What I thought was weird is that then, the sequel came out. Here, it only came out on the Xbox, the original one. And I remember distinctly, I pre-ordered that game. I pre-ordered it at EB Games, and I went in there to pick up my pre-order, and I was like, hey, so, so how was it? What, did a bunch of people, did you guys do a midnight launch? Did a bunch of people line up? Was it a really big deal? And the guy was like, no, you're the only person at our store that pre-ordered this, and I was like, really? And so I was like, okay. So, I took my pre-order copy of it and went home and played it. I do have to say that I'm going to admit this, and, I'm ashamed, but I never finished that game. I don't know what it was, if, more games were coming out for the Xbox or, whatever other system, PlayStation 2 or something maybe I had at the time, and I just got distracted, or I will say it was a little slow, and, I may have just kind of gotten a little bored with it in the middle and stopped playing. I have never finished Shenmue 2. Now, certainly much prior to the announcement of Shenmue 3, I realized, I had gotten rid of my whole Xbox collection, Shenmue 2 as well. I re-got Shenmue because I knew that, the series was important to me. It was part of my gaming legacy that I never, managed to finish that game. And, after that, quite a while actually, I have re-gotten an original Xbox, and, I've started collecting games for that again. So it's been my intention to play Shenmue 2 again, just to have that experience, just to say, I finished it, and who knows? I can't say I was expecting. In fact, I just really wasn't expecting Shenmue 3 to happen. But it's funded. As of this point, it's past 3 million. It sounds like other people like Sony is probably going to be funding additionally. The game, aside from just the Kickstarter money that's being raised, and I put some money into that. I put in what I always told myself, and I think I had mentioned publicly I would spend on that game if it was ever kickstarted. I'm just so happy to see. It just seems like across the board this theme of these companies finally just starting to go, let's give these fans what they want. Let's stop giving people reasons to complain, and let's listen a little bit. It's pretty incredible. It's not really surprising. I don't even know if I remember the rest of Sony's conference. I was done. They could have just stopped and been like, hey, everybody, see you at E3 next year, and I would have been all set. They did talk about, and I think Call of Duty, they're sort of switching places with the position that Xbox was in last year, or not last year, but in previous gen, with PS4 this gen is kind of getting that Call of Duty timed exclusive stuff and stuff like that, which makes perfect sense because it's the platform with the larger audience this gen, so that's not really surprising. But whatever, I don't care. I'm sure Call of Duty fans that are playing on PlayStation 4 are pleased with that, so that was good. But yeah, I don't really remember anything else. Shenmue 3 is coming out. It's amazing. If you guys haven't, kickstarted it, please contribute something if you can. Otherwise just get the word out, or just, I don't know. What I've liked seeing is that some people are saying, I didn't play Shenmue until, last year, and I really enjoyed it. For me, it's hard to tell because I have nostalgia for it, but, it seems like it's a game that still holds up. And, some people are actually saying in the comments on the Kickstarter, hey, I've never even played these original games, but people talk about it so much, I just wanted to contribute, and I just think that's amazing. So, I'm really excited. Square Enix also, I think, made a strong showing this time. There are some things they could have done, certainly, that I think would have would have impressed me. One of them would have been announcing, probably a new Dragon Quest game. Although I'm not really a Dragon Quest fan, so to speak. I played just the original Dragon Warrior on the NES, and then I haven't really played another Dragon Quest game, so I can't really talk. But I've been getting interested more and more in the series. I've kind of been meaning to go back and play Dragon Quest 8. And what's really hooked me, though, is Dragon Quest Warriors. I've seen gameplay footage of that live on PlayStation, and it looks cool. I don't know what it is, but I'm not a huge Warriors fan. But I've played like maybe one of the Dynasty Warriors games. I played some of the Gundam Warriors games. I played a little bit of the Fist of the North Star, Ken's Rage there, which, granted, I didn't like all that much, but, I'm aware of the series, and I don't dislike it. It's interesting. With this, what's exciting about it is I think the world of Dragon Quest is a cool world. When you see it, it's all Akira Toriyama. It's all his sort of fantasy stuff. You got the slimes and his weird monsters and skeletons, and it's a cool fantasy world. And to see that come to life in what essentially I'm taking as an action RPG, I'm excited for that. But that, again, it was kind of a theme here where Square Enix's conference sort of went back and forth between, well, here's Hitman, which is a little bit more of a big budget AAA action style game, and then here's a new Nier game. Now, I never played the original Nier. I watched one of my friends play some of it. I shouldn't say never. I started it and played in a couple hours. I didn't quite get into it, but it seems like the kind of game that I could, and I probably should. Other people that I know on YouTube really like it. It seems like they got the same director back, the same composer, which I've heard from Crack Lotus that the soundtrack is really good, and Platinum Games is handling the sorry, I'm shaking the camera, the development for it. And it sounds like, from what I've read, they were thinking, well, maybe it would be a little bit more of a typical Platinum Games take on the Nier universe, but it sounds like that there are some people at Platinum Games that were big fans of the original game, and it sounds like they're really going to to do it justice and kind of give you a similar gameplay experience. So I know I've heard such good things about Nier. I really want to check it out. And again, who would have thought that you would get an announcement like this at E3, and Square Enix, basically they're catering to the fans of that game. They're recognizing, we have an audience for this. It's not everyone in the world, but it's these people that are passionate about this, and they're going to buy this game. Let's make another one. It's like a shift in attitude. It really is. I think JRPG fans and, whatever kind of niche gaming fans, we have plenty of games to play. We're not being underserved, but we have been kind of ignored by these big companies, and it's changing a little bit, at least at the C3. It's weird. They talked about other cool stuff. Gosh, what was some of the things? I tweeted out about it, and, a World of Final Fantasy. I almost forgot about that. No idea what that game is going to be like, but the little chibi characters, they're kind of cute. I would just think that this was like a throwaway mobile game or something, except for the fact that it's come out on PS4 and Vita. So I think it's going to be more of a serious game. I'd love to see some sort of open world RPG game, with a whole bunch of characters from Final Fantasy games that can sort of super deform and change back, and it could be a really cool game. We don't know a lot about it, but again, an RPG, it looks really interesting. Star Ocean 5. Again, this is an RPG series I don't have a lot of experience with. I did play one of them on the PSP or the PlayStation 1, and I didn't like how it started. I never kept going with it, but I did like what I saw of the third one. I did just get that recently in a really cool thrift store find, and I have it on PS2. I've been meaning to play it. I'm eyeing the one on the PlayStation 3. So again, it just seems like things are changing a little bit for what I think is the better. It's at least things that I'm have a real genuine interest in. And I think nothing proves that more than the fact that Square Enix said, look, we're making a new company, a new division called Tokyo RPG Factory. It's basically like they're saying JRPG makers, you know, and they're just going to be focused on making a new IP, Japanese RPG. We're not talking, you know, Final Fantasy whatever and Star Ocean whatever, and, you know, this isn't an established thing. We're getting another new IP, Japanese RPG, from this company. I think that's great. I was sort of appalled at the audience at the Square Enix conference. They didn't clap or anything when they announced that. I mean, I felt like the guy on the stage started getting a little awkward after that, because, like, it seemed like there was no response. You know, what the hell? I thought it was really exciting. So, a completely surprising E3 this year. And, you know, I think the theme was listening to fans, making people's dreams come true. Shenmue 3 was the highlight of this whole thing for me. I think this is so amazing. We're going to be getting it on PS4. I hope we get a physical, you know, version. But regardless, if I have the choice, I will get the physical edition for the PC, and I will also buy the PlayStation 4 version digitally, and probably play it on my PS4. Put the physical PC version on my shelf, and just, I don't know. I am a happy camper. You know, I'm a little kid on Christmas morning. Who would have thought that we would be having an E3 like this? Completely unexpected, and very wonderful. So those are my impressions of E3 this year. I hope that you enjoyed watching this, and I hope you'll join me again for more video game and anime related videos.